By the time you finish school and enter the workforce, you've likely had dozens of teachers who have made an impact on your life. With any luck, many of them were good or even excellent. However, there's a good chance you've never had a great mentor. While teaching is an exceptionally important way to learn, teaching and mentoring are not the same thing. In fact, most adults report that they've never had a formal mentor. The problem often sits in how companies view learning and development. Having teachers as an adult is important, which is why many of us take continuing education courses. But mentors and teachers aren't the same thing. The impact mentors will have on your life and career is dramatically different, as is the way you engage with it. Hi, I'm Sam. Welcome to MentorcliQ's Mentoring Masterminds, where we combine our industry-leading experience in employee engagement strategies with actionable advice directly from HR leaders who represent our Fortune 500 clients. In this video, we're going to help you put a defining line between two important concepts, teaching and mentoring. While learning and development are a desired outcome for both, there are key differences that can make a big impact on your outcome. But first, we make these videos because we love seeing mentoring programs succeed and careers positively impacted. Be sure to like and subscribe so you know when we release new content like this every week. A common difference between teaching and mentoring is the group dynamic. In a teacher-student relationship, the goal is typically to absorb information that's presented, complete assignments to practice concepts, and then to complete a test to show mastery of the subject. That format has existed, since the beginning of time. Within mentoring relationships, however, the dynamic is not quite the same. While the mentor is the expert in the room, the goal isn't to simply deliver information. Instead, most mentoring relationships put the mentee in control of the desired outcome. Mentees and mentors may work together to create a learning plan, but that plan is almost entirely individualized to the mentee. Sometimes, a mentor is called a guide on the side, whereas a teacher may be the sage on the stage. Mentors walk alongside their mentees as they experience and encounter challenges that lead growth. Teaching styles can vary dramatically. An elementary school teacher doesn't teach the same way as a high school teacher, and a college professor will likely have a different way of teaching than the instructors from a corporate education service. Mentoring tends to be different than all these because of the relationship dynamic we mentioned. A guide on the side lends itself to a different instructional approach. You won't often find mentors creating lesson plans, instructional slides, worksheets, or tests. Instead, the mentor's role is to listen attentively and help the mentee work through problems toward personal growth. Where needed, mentors will offer insights and advice based on their experience. You may be wondering how this differs from certain teaching styles like the Socratic method. The answer is simple. Many teaching styles can be used very effectively in mentoring relationships. In fact, the Socratic method pairs perfectly with a mentoring relationship. Whether formal or informal, in a group setting or one-on-one, mentoring departs from traditional teaching by making the mentor more of an observational expert in the room who helps offer the right type of guardrails for effective independent growth. In many ways, modern classrooms are moving more toward a mentoring framework, particularly with flipped classroom models. Still, even there, the focus is more on the instruction, practice, testing method. Mentoring, for the most part, is still a distinct departure from that strategy, even if there are some elements of it that cross over into the mentoring relationship. What if I told you that you had to sign up for a class that would last for 2 years? A part of you might just die inside, especially if it's a math class. You probably won't experience that type of angst if it's a formal mentoring relationship. The length of the engagement is a big and important difference between mentoring and teaching. Almost all teaching relationships typically have a defined beginning and end. You sign up for a course that begins in August and ends in December. Once you take the test, you're done and you move on to the next one. Mentoring doesn't always work like that. Even with formal mentoring programs, you may end up in a mentoring relationship for a year, 2 years, or more. Now, most companies have formal mentoring programs with 3, 6, or 12-month cohorts. However, depending on the type of program, you're likely able to re-enroll in the same program. That's because most mentoring programs aren't designed as a one and done. They're built around the concept of continual learning and growth. That means the relationships formed between mentors and mentees can last for years to come, both formally and informally. Our last difference is directly related to the relationship time frame. More often than not, once you're done with a course, you mostly stop interacting with the individual instructor. For high schoolers, a great teacher might be able to advocate for you once it comes time to apply for college, and as a college graduate, a great professor might be able to write you a stellar recommendation for a job or graduate degree program. But what about in the workplace? Course instructors won't have much sway or impact on internal career movements. Commonly, however, mentoring relationships lead to sponsorships. The nature of the mentoring relationship is one in which the mentor oversees the independent growth of the mentee. In doing so, the mentor develops a strong understanding of the mentee's capabilities. That mentor can then advocate for the mentee when it comes to project assignments and internal promotion. Teaching and mentoring relationships can both be life-changing, but for individuals hoping to truly advance in their career, having a sponsor within your organization can make all the difference. Getting someone to sponsor your career is not easy without an established relationship. And since most sponsors are hesitant to put their reputation on the line, they tend to only sponsor those who they know can succeed at the task. That's why mentors are far more likely to sponsor their mentees, and why mentees typically enjoy higher salaries, promotions, and retention compared to working adults who don't have a mentor. What kind of mentoring relationships have you had at work? Let us know in the comments below. Teaching and mentoring are both important learning methods. Working adults can definitely benefit from having both teachers and mentors. However, those two learning methods should not be treated the same. The relationship dynamic, instructional styles, engagement time frame, and relationship outcome will all be different. And for long-term career success, there's no replacement for a workplace mentor. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to visit us at MentorcliQ.com and follow us on LinkedIn for more mentoring program insights and advice.